A warm welcome to everyone. We have currently 124 people gathered from all around the world to celebrate and join together in celebrating the 14th International Bhikkhuni Day. And I'd like to begin our time together by paying homage to the Buddha, our teacher. Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. And I'd also like to pay respects to our lineage, all of the Bhikkhuni Sangha who have practiced and gained insight, and often through great struggle, through great hardship and struggle, often over these 2,600 years. I'd like to pay homage to our lineage, our Bhikkhuni Sangha, past and present. And it's really wonderful to be part of this very auspicious occasion in September. So the International Bhikkhuni Day is celebrated around the full moon of September. But I think we're tending towards celebrating it over the whole month of September, because why not? It's good to recollect and remember the Bhikkhuni Sangha who have been in the Theravada tradition, but have been sort of, you could say, underground for so long, not able to step fully into our for so many hundreds of years. So we can take the whole month to celebrate. And I'd like to begin by welcoming our Venerable Sangha members who will be presenting today. So the Venerable Silawi Nayaka Mahatero, who is the Venerable Secretary of the Mahabodhi Society of India. He will be speaking today. Venerable Ananda Jyoti Mahatero, who is originally from the UK and I believe lives now in Malaysia. So most welcome. The Venerable Santini Mahateri from Indonesia. The Venerable Vijayananda Mahateri from Sri Lanka. Venerable Leopap Mahateri, Vietnam, who's made this possible. Venerable Dhammananda Mahateri in Thailand. I saw you for a moment. Venerable Bodhicitta Teri in Australia. Venerable Palanyani Teri in Germany. Venerable Sumangala Bhikkhuni in Malaysia. And Venerable Sakya Dhammadina Bhikkhuni in India. So all of these Venerable Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis will be presenting today and enriching our lives with this, with bringing more maybe history and of where we come from, and also of how the Bhikkhuni Sangha is growing now around the world, excuse me, across the world. So there will be reports from different continents and different countries of how the Bhikkhuni Sangha is growing and developing. And it's really truly an honor actually to be here with. I'm just right now looking at Venerable Dhammananda, who is such an amazing force of good for the Bhikkhuni Sangha, and just now really a very venerable elder, and just much gratitude for the work that has been done, that you have done and that others have done to make it possible for us to live this Bhikkhuni life and to fully engage, to fully live the life that the Buddha recommended for those who wish to go forth. And I've noticed over these years of my own aspiration to monastic life and entry into monastic life, how if one has a male body, lots of doors are open, very, very easy to ordain. And if one has a female body, amazing how many doors close. With the same aspiration, the same beautiful intention to live the renunciate life, to practice for full liberation, for one's own benefit and for the benefit of all beings. Somehow, having a female body, there are all of these obstacles. So together, with the Bhikkhunis going right back from our Venerable Mahapajapati, Gautami Teri, going right back to our founding mother, Mahapajapati, women have opened the way and kept opening the way and kept opening the way. And we cannot do that without also the support of our bhikkhu brothers. This is also very, very important, and it makes a very big difference whether the bhikkhu Sangha is supportive of the bhikkhunis or not. So we go ahead anyway, but it certainly makes a big difference if the bhikkhu Sangha is supportive and acknowledges and respects the Bhikkhuni Sangha, or if they don't. And it's very varied. So we are blessed to have two of the bhikkhus with us today who are very supportive of the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And I also want to acknowledge and respect the Mahabodhi Society of India, who made it possible in 1996 and 1998 for the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha to be formally re-established. So this was a very radical act in those days and a very important act. And it's thanks to those who went forth, and who supported the going forth, the upasampada of those courageous women in 1996 and 1998, that we have the Bhikkhuni Sangha continuing now, that I was able to take ordination, that others are able to take ordination, that lineage is able to continue as the Buddha intended. This is we're not doing anything other than what the Buddha intended. So it's wonderful to have this gathering, 185 people here, or probably maybe more. Some people may be in groups there from all over the world. So I'd like to invite the opening chanting for this occasion from Venerable Santini Mahateri.
Thank you for giving me the honor to lead the opening of this event to commemorate the International Bhikkhuni Day. To Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni Sangha, humbly I ask permission to lead the chanting. Now, let us once again remember and keep in our hearts the Arunawati Sutta, stated in Samyutta Nikaya 6.14, which reads, Arambata Nikamata Yunjatha Buddha Sasani Dunathama Juno Senang Nalagarang Wakunjaro Yo imasmi Dhammavina ye appamato vihasati pahaya jati sang sarang dukkha santang karisati sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Venerable. Something so beautiful and powerful. So I'd like to invite Venerable Siloe Nayaka Mahatero to present to open his opening speech for this occasion.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa sukho buddhanang uppado sukha saddhamma desana sukha sanghassa samaggi samagganang tapo sukho. Venerable Bhikkhunis and dear Dhamma friends, this is a great occasion that you all have joined this webinar from different parts of the world to celebrate this auspicious 14th International Bhikkhuni Day. Bhikkhuni Sangha was founded during the lifetime of the Buddha by Mahaprajapati Mahateri, and in course of time it is spread through many countries. The great example is of Bhikkhuni Sangamitta Mahateri, the daughter of Emperor Asoka, who established first Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka. Bhikkhuni Sangamitta spent her whole life spreading the teachings of the Buddha. She never returned to her motherland and passed away at Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka. Likewise, many of you are making great sacrifices for the cause of the Dhamma. For the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, there is no geographical limitation or boundaries. For us, the whole mankind is our family and all our brothers and sisters. Here the feeling of international fraternity reigns supreme. Since the inception of United Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha International, you have been facing so many difficulties, hurdles and obstacles, but through your firm determination and strong willpower, you have overcome all hindrances. You receive continuous inspiration from the legacy of the great lineage of Bhikkhuni Sangha, which you are trying your best to revive. Today this webinar organized by the UTBSI has given all the responsibility of going forth to achieve many more feats and heights. I, on behalf of Mahabodhi Society of India, wishes the successful outcome of the international webinar. May the Triple Gems bless you all with good health, peace, and happiness to continue path of the Dhamma. Sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhitatha.
Thank you, Bhante, for the beautiful opening. And Venerable Silami Nayaka Mahatero is also the spiritual advisor of the United Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha International. Great support for the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And I'd like to now introduce Venerable Ananda Jyoti Mahatero, who is originally from the UK and who resides in Malaysia.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear sisters and brothers in the Dhamma, today is International Bhikkhuni Day, which is normally celebrated on or around the full moon day in September. That is because it commemorates the time when Mahapajapati and 1,000 of her followers made the journey down from Kapilavatthu to Vaisali to request ordination and the establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha. This was no small journey. It's about 200 kilometers, I think, and it was undertaken during the rains retreat, so that traveling would have been more difficult during that time. But they managed to get to Vaisali, and with the help of the intercession of Venerable Ananda, they approached the Buddha and eventually managed to get permission to establish the Bhikkhuni Sangha. This is a great event, of course, in the Buddhasasana. It happened in the 6th rains retreat, which is very early in the history of the Sasana, and the Buddha still was teaching the Bhikkhuni Sangha as well as the Bhikkhu Sangha for the next 40 years before he attained Parinibbana. So they had direct teaching from the Buddha for the rest of that period. The Sangha at that time was basically confined to northeast India, actually quite a small area in northeast India. It's only with the expansion of the Mauryan Empire a couple of centuries later, under the leadership of Emperor Ashoka, that the area that the Dhamma was available in was expanded to most of what we now call India, in fact larger than what we now call India, ranging from Bangladesh in the east and to Afghanistan in the west. So it's actually quite a large area. And Ashoka at that time, after the Third Council, he sent out missions to all the border areas in his empire. It was a civilizing mission, really, trying to teach people the Dhamma and trying to get the teaching established in the farther reaches of his empire. As we know, of course, the Sangha didn't stop there, but in coming centuries it also travelled through Central Asia into China and Vietnam, into Korea and into Japan, and it also travelled south through Sri Lanka to Indonesia and even to the Philippines and so on. So most of Asia at that time received the teachings of the Buddha and received the Sangha. Now some of those Sanghas thrived and have survived even up until today. With the Bhikkhuni Sangha, it seems that in the Theravada tradition anyway, that it must have passed out of existence sometime in the Middle Ages. Exactly when is not really clear, because we keep seeing glimpses of the Bhikkhuni Sangha even into late medieval times in the Theravada countries. So exactly when it passed out of existence has never been properly established. But it did at some point, and it's only in recent years that it's been re-established with the, on the one hand, with the help of the Bhikkhuni Sanghas that have survived in other traditions, and on the other hand, with the help of the Bhikkhu Sangha, especially the Sri Lankan Bhikkhu Sangha. Now the revival really started in the 1990s, and basically it was just a small group of very brave and courageous women who managed to re-establish the Bhikkhuni Sangha. Since that time, of course, then more and more women have joined, and it's become much more viable in its establishment now. We see in Sri Lanka, for instance, that the Bhikkhuni Sangha is quite well established and quite well accepted amongst the lay people, but it's a little bit underground when we think about the central powers and the hierarchy in the Sangha. And the similar sort of situation occurs in Thailand as well. There are very well established foundations in Thailand, and they are supported by the lay people, but they don't have the general authority of the central Bhikkhu Sangha. On the other hand, we see in Western countries that the Bhikkhuni Sangha is very well accepted, I think. In Indonesia, it's also doing well, and in places that have a Bhikkhuni Sangha like Vietnam, it's also managed to become established. So that's a really good foundation that we have at the moment. So the Bhikkhuni Sangha is quite spread out throughout the world, but it's interesting, I think, to contrast it with the original establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha, because that had the authority of the Buddha. It had it was really central to the foundation of the Sasana, and it flourished, moving out from the center into the peripheral areas. I think now when we look at the Bhikkhuni Sangha, we see that it's in the peripheral areas, and the center, which we might say is the central Bhikkhu councils and so on, have not quite accepted it at the moment. But this is something where work has to be done, of course. I think a lot of it is based on not quite understanding the Vinaya situation as well as it could be. So there needs to be more research, more presentation, and more education put forward in regard to the re-establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And I think eventually what we will see is that when it becomes more established in society at large and well established amongst the lay people and so on, that will eventually feed back into the central and hierarchical aspects of the Sangha, and they will become more and more influenced by what is actual, the de facto case of the matter. So I think there's a lot of optimism. Of course, at the moment, the Bhikkhuni Sangha is still not very many people. It's more and more every year, but it's still not many people, according to the demand that is there. The Bhikkhuni Sangha can help in, especially for women, and I think especially for women who are in a difficult situation in the societies that we live in. It can be victims of domestic abuse, or they can be victims of societal abuse, getting involved with drugs or prostitution or human trafficking and so on. So there's a lot of areas where the Bhikkhuni Sangha, I feel, can reach that the Bhikkhu Sangha is going to have more trouble with. So as this happens and as it becomes more established, I think that will feed back into society in general. And as we see the progress that is being made in the coming years, then that will make a really big difference. Of course, the ultimate aim of anybody who is entering the Sangha is to attain Nibbana, or the eradication of suffering. But along the way, we must also prepare the conditions whereby that can happen. And that also means being involved in society and changing societal mores to make it more favourable for everybody to have the opportunity to undertake that path. There's still a lot to be done, especially on the institutional side of things. We need to convince the central sanghas of not only the necessity of the Bhikkhuni Sangha, because it can serve an area that the Bhikkhu Sangha is not so able to reach. So not just the necessity, but also the Vinaya legality of the re-establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha. Now, much has been done in the past 30 years, but a lot remains to be done in the future. The revived Bhikkhuni Sangha has accomplished a lot, and it will contribute much more in the future. On this International Bhikkhuni Celebration Day, I would like to wish all my sisters strength in the Dhamma and a bright future in the Sasana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Venerable Anandajoti Matera. It's very helpful to have that overview for everyone of the timing of the re-establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha, and that it has been growing gradually, but we still meet many obstacles on the institutional level, and that does influence how people do, whether women decide to go forth or not. Sometimes it can just feel too many obstacles, and just try a different way, and definitely the continued work for the visibility of the Bhikkhuni Sangha and for the education of people, particularly the institutions, Buddhist institutions, to recognize the importance of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in the world, both on a societal level and also to open the door for the liberation of all. So I'd like now to invite Venerable Santini Mahateri from Indonesia to speak.
Namo Buddhaya. First of all, I would like to pay respect to all senior monks and nuns. On this International Bhikkhuni Day, I would like to present to you summary of the development of Theravada Bhikkhunis in Indonesia. Even though the essence of the Buddhist teaching is about equality, but biases of culture and tradition can result in gender discrimination, which also impacts the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha community. Although Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha has an ancient root beginning from the time of the Buddha, but over the centuries, this tradition has always experienced a lot of challenges and hindrances. This creates setbacks in many regions. Before year 2000, some Indonesian Buddhist women had felt some kind of dissatisfaction and discontent towards gender inequality in religion practices. They kept practicing Dhamma in the best possible way as mages, thinking that it would be impossible to become bhikkhunis. All those years, the bhikkhus had kept explaining to lay people that Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha had died out long ago and had 0% possibility to revive, and completely trusting this idea, bhikkhus must be right. Nobody thought otherwise. Thus there was complete surrender. What a wrong mental attitude. Actually, who has the right to forbid somebody to practice living the kind of life in the Dhamma taught by the Buddha? Nobody actually. This was proven by some Theravada Buddhist women who strived harder, breaking the barriers set by bhikkhus who did not want Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha to revive ever. These women strived for the right to practice the kind of life taught by the Buddha, just like what happened to Mahapajapati Gotami and her 500 followers, who then all reached the stage of arahantship before they passed. So the revival movement started. Inspired by these pioneers, many Theravada Buddhist women in other countries also began to advocate the re-establishment of Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha. Actually, the presence of Theravada Bhikkhunis is a symbol of gender equality and spiritual inclusivity. With time, quite a few influential public figures and scholars have proposed arguments based on the scriptures and history. In short, there feels a need for the revival of Bhikkhuni Sangha. Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha has been rooted in history. This can be traced back to the time of the Buddha, but due to lots of hurdles, disturbances and challenges, the lineage of Theravada Bhikkhunis had long disappeared. Those Buddhist women who had been fully ordained in the Theravada tradition could no longer be found, even in some Theravada countries, including Indonesia. Because of that, the revival of the lineage in the Theravada tradition had to be undertaken. However, the development of Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in Indonesia has since faced challenges because of the domination of traditional monastic system, which accentuate male ordination. But so far, the efforts to educate and promote the acceptance of Theravada Buddhist women ordination is still going on. After all, the wheel has been turned. The development of Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in Indonesia has undergone a long journey which is full of challenge. There have been debates among Theravada communities concerning the legitimacy and orthodoxy of Theravada Bhikkhuni ordination. Some conservative bhikkhus have questioned about the validity based on the Vinaya. Don't they know that it has clearly been stated in Culawagga 10 that the Tathagata allows bhikkhus to ordain women to become bhikkhunis and ordain men to become bhikkhus? Or maybe they forget? Or maybe simply they won't know Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha. They want just 3 pillars, while the Buddha established 4 pillars. Bhikkhu Sangha, Bhikkhuni Sangha, Upasakas, and Upasikas. Well. But the endeavors to revive Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in Indonesia have not been in vain. Despite the barriers and attacks set by the opponents, various supports keep coming from various circles. They come from Buddhist organizations as well as from individuals. With time, since year 2000, there have been more and more Buddhist followers who give their supports as well. The understanding and acceptance towards bhikkhunis in Theravada communities increase in Indonesia. The cause, Indonesian bhikkhunis are active in various religious, social, and education activities. They also play important roles in promulgating Dhamma and providing spiritual teachings and guidance to Buddhists in Indonesia. Theravada bhikkhunis in Indonesia keep struggling. Although the journey is not easy, the Theravada Bhikkhuni community never stops working hard to strengthen their place in Theravada tradition and to contribute to the spiritual improvement of the Buddhists in Indonesia. In brief, the story of Theravada Bhikkhuni development is about tenacity, dedication, and revival of the precious religious tradition. For us, year 2000 marked a very important life-changing experience. 4 Buddhist nuns from Indonesia took the ordination as bhikkhunis. There were Bhikkhuni Santini, Bhikkhuni Silawati, Bhikkhuni Dhammakumari, and Bhikkhuni Dirasirini. Hence, Sangha Bhikkhuni Theravada was established in Indonesia. The truth is, we Theravada bhikkhunis have faced various oppositions. Many say that the oppositions gave really hard challenges to the bhikkhunis. With time, due to this or that, Bhikkhuni Dirasirini disrobed in the first Swasa, and then Bhikkhuni Dhammakumari disrobed in 2006 as well. In January 2015, Bhikkhuni Wijayani joined the Sangha Bhikkhuni Theravada Indonesia. She has been a Theravada Bhikkhuni up to now. In June 2015, Bhikkhuni Wajira and Bhikkhuni Sadika joined, but due to various reasons, Bhikkhuni Wajira disrobed in 2016 and Bhikkhuni Sadika disrobed in 2023. In December 2017, Bhikkhuni Silawati passed away. With the passing and disrobing in this year of 2024, there are only the 2 of us, Bhikkhuni Wijayani and me, Bhikkhuni Santini, in the Sangha Bhikkhuni Theravada Indonesia. Yes, they are only the 2 of us, but we both work the best way we can, with hard work and goodwill, with the help and support of our dedicated lay supporters. we have always managed to organize many important programs. With our faithful and wonderful supporters, we have also managed to do social activity. Maybe people say that the number of helping people is not increasing, but our programs do not slacken. Just a couple of weeks before, in July 2024, the Indonesia Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha established our first Buddhist school named Sangha School. There is another interesting phenomenon in Indonesia. Actually, there are 7 other Bhikkhunis in Theravada tradition, but they are under Sangha Agung Indonesia, a Sangha established by bhikkhus. Also, there are 4 independent Bhikkhunis, or maybe more, who do not join any institution or Sangha. And with the UTBSI activities, I have strong hope that something positive will emerge. Hopefully, more and more women will join the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in Indonesia and in the whole world. Thus, the world gets the benefits of the existence of 4 strong Buddhist pillars: Bhikkhu Sangha, Bhikkhuni Sangha, Upasakas and Upasikas, again as in the time of the Buddha. May all beings be happy and may the best come to us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Santini. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Just very, very powerful and moving to feel your courage and warrior spirit in the Dhamma. It's very, very beautiful and inspiring. And my respects. I'd like now to invite Venerable Vijayananda Mahateri from Sri Lanka to speak.
Respect most venerable Mahatera and bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. Dear lay devotees, I am Bhikkhuni Vijayananda. Today I am so happy to represent Sri Lankan bhikkhunis and talk about the history and evolution of Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka. First of all, I would like to introduce origin of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka. Then I will be this kind is evolution, challenge and distribution. Bhikkhuni order was spread to Sri Lanka from India in the 3rd century BC by Sanghamitra Mahateri, the doctor of the Indian king Ashoka. She yearned to facilitate the ordination of Anula Devi, the queen of Sri Lanka at that time. The order then spread from Sri Lanka to China in the early 6th century and later to other parts of in Asia, including Korea and Taiwan. In the early 11th century, both the Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis orders disappeared from Sri Lanka due to famines, harsh environment factors and the spread of disease. In the 19th century, a woman from a wealthy Christian family sought to practice Buddhism, but had no one instruct her. She decided to become a nun Myanmar under the Myanmar tradition, with allowed observation of when she said Dasasila Mata. Her monastic name was Sudhammachari. After becoming a nun, she returned to Sri Lanka and established the Lady Black Nunnery in Katukale, Kandy. This led to many women becoming Buddhist nuns in Sri Lanka and observing the monastic life at Dasasila Mata. Subsequently, many nuns observed 10 precepts, but they did not become bhikkhunis. In the late 20th century, some Mahatheras and bhikkhus who realized that the sasana is incomplete Without the 4 assemblies, they made the decision to re-establish the Bhikkhuni assembly. Sri Lanka monks had made several efforts over the request to combat Bhikkhuni ordination of Sri Lankan seminaries. The most significant initiative was the one made in 1996 by Venerable Mapalagama Vipulasara Theru, where Bhikkhuni Kusuma became the first to receive Upasampada in Saranath, India. In February 1998, the Buddha's Light International Association of Foguansan, Taiwan, organizing an international Royal ordination ceremony in Bodh Gaya, India. By this time, 20 seminaries were being trained by the Bhikkhuni Educational Academy in Sri Lanka, and the guidance of Venerable Sumangala Thera of Rangiri Damulu Temple. 20 seminaries get the opportunity to receive higher ordination in Bodh Gaya alone with other international seminaries. As a result of this event, there are now many Bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka practice monastic life. In Sri Lanka, there are currently 2,874 Bhikkhunis residing in 723 nunneries of Sri Lanka Bhikkhunis. The development of the Bhikkhuni assembly in Sri Lanka has encountered both opportunity and challenge. Despite assistance from several bhikkhus in establishing the assembly, after 1,000 years Bhikkhunis lacked state support and recognition, reliance in state-owned alms and donation for their basic needs makes their life difficult. The Sangha is currently facing a number of challenges. These include lack of support resulting in few Bhikkhunis monasteries, a decline in interest among modern young women to renounce worldly life, opposition to the restatement of the Bhikkhuni assembly for some bhikkhus, and the government failure to issue official ID card for bhikkhunis. Consequently, the new lineage of Sri Lankan bhikkhunis is struggling to get accepted and support. Despite these challenges, the new lineage of bhikkhunis is the both training bravery and persistent in their approach to learn the Buddha's teaching. For attaining liberation, many training nuns are pursued in higher ordination to become bhikkhunis with the ceremony. Training place annually for both Sri Lankan and foreign bhikkhunis. In addition, senior bhikkhunis are organizing the Upasampada ceremony for nuns in other countries. They are working diligently to uphold the development of Bhikkhuni Sasana and to provide guidance for people following the Dhamma and Vinaya of the Blessed One. Distribution. Bhikkhunis in monastery not only practice the Dhamma but also contribute to society through education, counseling and charity. They educate children and lay devotees, train young nuns, teach at universities, offer lessons in ethical thinking, and provide Dhamma instruction to lay peoples. Additionally, they offer psychology counseling to those facing life challenges. Recently, Bhikkhunis address various social issues with empathy and compassion. They support children by providing clothing, books, and educational resources to help them pursue a better future. They also assisted impoverished families in rural villages struggling with agriculture challenge. Further, more Bhikkhunis play a tighter role in agreeing with leaders but different religions to find solutions to societal issues related to education, religion, and quality of life. In summary, the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka has a rich history marked by early establishment, decline, and a modern revival. The ongoing efforts to support and recognize female monastic Siam reflects broader change in societal attitudes towards women in Buddhism. The Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka continues to development and makes significant contribution to modern society. Guided by the teaching of the Buddha for the benefit and well-being of individual and the society at large. Despite facing significant challenge and opposition, the Bhikkhuni remain dedicated to their holy life and to rebuild the Bhikkhuni Sangha for the benefit of Christian and future generations. Their purpose aim to restore the fourfold exactly of the Buddha in its integrity, thereby contributing and preserving the Buddha Sasana in this troubled time, making it whole again. Hopefully, Bhikkhuni worldwide can assist in other in development and establishing Sangha following Dhamma and Vinaya. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so very much, Venerable Vijayananda. Excuse me. So it's actually very good to hear the number of bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka being probably more bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka than any other country in the world. And we've often wondered, how many are there? It's always difficult to know. So Venerable mentioned 2,874 bhikkhunis in 723 nunneries across Sri Lanka. And it's, with much gratitude to the Sri Lankan Sangha, Sri Lankan Bhikkhuni Sangha and Bhikkhu Sangha have been very much, have been crucial really in enabling ordination and supporting bhikkhunis, the Theravada bhikkhunis to re-emerge in the world. And yet, even with so many bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka, they're still meeting these obstacles on an institutional level. And sometimes people might think, well, what's the problem? You just have your alms bowl, you go on alms. This is how the Buddha recommended it. But it actually is it wears you down. It's very wearing when you're giving your life to something that is deeply good and beneficial and wholesome and beautiful in the world. It's a gift to the world. And then you're met again and again with these obstructions, and even, you know, there are even bhikkhus who will say there are no bhikkhunis, even to the face of bhikkhunis. So there'll be this, so you're being kind of denied your existence. So the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka is powerful and strong, and yet is meeting all of these obstacles, as I think you're hearing happens in countries all over the world. So I would like now to introduce the Most Venerable Nyingpa Mahateri, who is one of the key organizers of this important event and one of the founders of the United Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha International.
Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. I pay respect to the Bhikkhu Sangha, to the Bhikkhuni Sangha. Dear Dhamma friends, today, on the International Bhikkhuni Day, I would like to represent the Vietnamese Bhikkhuni Sangha to present to you the topic, the growth of the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in Vietnam. As you know, Vietnamese Buddhism has three sects, Mahayana, Theravada, and Mendicant, among which Mahayana is major. Here is the table showing the numbers of monks and nuns in Vietnam. The total number of monks and nuns is 52,000. Khmer Theravada monks, 8,574. Vietnamese Theravada monks and nuns, 1,754. Bhikkhunis, 75. Samaneris, 83. And 8 recept nuns, 450. We can say that the Vietnamese Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha was formed in 2002, when the first group of the 4 Vietnamese Theravada Bhikkhunis were ordained in March 2002 at Tapo Tharana Ramaya Temple in Mount Lavinia, Colombo, Sri Lanka, including Venerable Vidita Dhamma, now abbess of Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama, Venerable Susanta, now abbess of Kemarama, Venerable Dhammanandi, now residing in the US, and Venerable Bunnofasi, now residing in Canada and returned to the 8 precepts. These are some pictures of our ordination ceremony in Sri Lanka in 2002. The second group of 2 bhikkhunis were ordained in July 2004 in Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka, including Venerable Dhammananda, now residing in the United States, Venerable Kemanandi, now returning to the 8 precepts due to illness. The third group of 4 bhikkhunis were ordained in July 2012 at Vietnam Mahapajapati Nunnery in Vesali, India, in the ordination ceremony organized by the Network of Asian Theravada Bhikkhuni Association, including Venerable Satchapanya, now Deputy Abbess of Sunyatarama, Venerable Dhammapali, now Chief Nun at Punyagiri Meditation Center, Venerable Visuddhisattva, passed away, and Venerable Dhammachinta, now back to Mahayana. These are some photos of the Bhikkhuni ordination ceremony in Vesali. After that, many batches of the candidates went abroad to get full ordination. One at Rajaguru Sri Subuhi Mahavihara in Waskaduwa, Sri Lanka in June 2014. 3 at Manilwatu Biharaya, Kelaniya, Sri Lanka in January 2015. 2 at the Wisma Kusalayani, Bandung, Lambang, Indonesia in June 2015. 3 at the Sakatita Bhikkhuni Training Center, Moratuwa, Sri Lanka in January 2016, and 8 at the Buddha Chatuparisa Vijayana in Nakhon Pathom, Thailand in September 2017. These are some photos of the Sri Lanka and Indonesia ceremonies. In November 2021, the UTBSI was formed, And after that, in cooperation with the MBSI, we have organized 2 international ordination ceremonies in Bodh Gaya, India. Therefore, from Vietnam, 15 were ordained at MBSI Center in Bodh Gaya, India in December 2019, and 27 were ordained at the same place in November 2022. These are some photos of the ordination ceremonies in Bodh Gaya, India. Especially in 2024, this year, for the first time in the history of Vietnamese Buddhism, the Theravada Bhikkhuni ordination was organized in Huế, Vietnam, with Most Venerable Punnafaso Mahathero, the Vice Sangha of the Vietnamese Buddhist Sangha, as Upachayo, and Venerable Vidithathamma and Venerable Susanta as Pavatini. 15 Bhikkhunis were ordained. These are some photos of the Bhikkhuni ordination in Huế City, Vietnam. Now I would like to introduce some Theravada Bhikkhunis nunneries in Vietnam. The first is Khemarama. The first nunnery for Theravada Bhikkhunis in Vietnam is Khemarama. Previously, it was a temple of the Mahayana sect, and it was transferred to Venerable Susanta in 2009. The nunnery is located in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province, southern Vietnam. Now Venerable Susanta is the abbess with the assembly of 21 Bhikkhuni and 10 samaneries. They are very active in social activities. Nuns in the nunnery hold evening classes for Buddhists near the temple, English classes for children, and regularly do charity work to help the poor. These are the photo of Khemarama. Second is Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama. This nunnery was founded by Most Venerable Punnafaso Mahathero in 1999. Previously, this nunnery was for nuns of the 8 precepts. In 2013, when Venerable Vidithathamma completed her doctoral thesis in India and returned to Vietnam, she was appointed abbess of this nunnery. Currently, the nunnery has 32 bhikkhunis and 25 novice nuns. This is a meditation center that offers weekend retreats for adults and temporary seminary ordination for ladies and summer camps for children. The nunnery is in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province and is a place with potential for future development. These are some photos of Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama, of the temporary seminary ordination and the summer camp for children. The third is Gotami Nunnery. The abbess of this nunnery, Venerable Metta, was an 8 precept nun for more than 30 years and a seminary for 10 years before she was fully ordained in 2022. There is only 1 bhikkhuni and 1 seminary staying there. They spend most of their time meditating and begging for alms every day. The nunnery is located in Huế City, central Vietnam. These are some photos of Gotami Nunnery. The fourth is Dhammadinna Nunnery. This nunnery was founded by Most Venerable Sila Guno Mahathero. It is located on the premises of Viện Không Upper Mountain Monastery, and the nuns are guided and sponsored by the monks. This nunnery is in Huế City, where 7 bhikkhunis and 4 samaneries are staying. They go for alms in the city every Thursday morning. These are some photos of Dhammadinna Nunnery. The fifth is Avisunya Vihara. This is not a separate nunnery, but belongs to the Bhikkhu temple. There are 3 samaneries staying there. They assist the monks in conducting the temporary ordinations, occurring quite often in this temple. These are some photos of Avisunya Nunnery. The sixth is Punyagiri Meditation Center. This is the largest Theravada center in Vietnam. There are 13 bhikkhunis and 40 samaneries staying there. They attend the classes and meditation courses for both monks and nuns, but they have to go to Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama to recite the Patimokkha. And these are some photos of Punyagiri Meditation Center, and this is the Patimokkha chanting in Sunyatarama. In conclusion, even though Theravada Bhikkhunis in Vietnam are not officially recognized by the Sangha, but they can establish nunneries, organize meditation courses for adults and children, teaching at Buddhist universities and colleges, and take part in all the activities together with the Bhikkhunis of other traditions. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and I wish you to be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Venerable. Very inspiring to see the Bhikkhunis in Patimokkha together, that large number of Bhikkhunis. And also, again, we hear the story of how much struggle there is to take a foothold as a Bhikkhuni around the world, and the many gifts that the Bhikkhunis bring to society and also to other women, to pass on the Dhamma and Vinaya and a possibility of training to others. So much respect and gratitude for your amazing work and ongoing work for the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And I'd like now to introduce the Venerable Dhammananda Mahateri in Thailand with much gratitude and respect.
With my respect to Mahasanghas, Bhikkhu Sangha and Bhikkhuni Sangha. Today I'm supposed to be talking about a brief history of Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in Thailand. It was the Buddha's clear intention to have Bhikkhuni as he established the fourfold Buddhist communities. He allowed women to be ordained because women can be enlightened. My country, Thailand, has been a unified nation in 13th century AD, but throughout our history, we never had Bhikkhunis. It is believed that because the lineage of Bhikkhunis never arrived in our country. In 1928, there was a first attempt when a well-known person in our history, his name was Narinklung. He arranged for his daughters Sara and Jongdi to be ordained, but the Sangha did not accept as the process of ordination was not clear, so the movement came to an end very quickly. I call this the first wave. The second wave came with my mother, Venerable Waramaika Bilsing, who already spent 15 years of her monastic life. She went to Taiwan and received ordination as Bhikkhuni in 1971. She was considered the first Thai Bhikkhuni. However, the lineage was Mahayana with Dharmagupta Vinaya. As a Buddhist scholar, I waited until the actual international Bhikkhuni appeared in 1998. The host who organized the ordination was Pho Guangshan. There were 20 candidates from Sri Lanka. After that ordination by both Sanghas was given in Bodh Gaya, India. The newly ordained Sri Lankan Bhikkhunis went to take another ordination in Sarnath, where they received a confirmation ordination by 10 senior Bhikkhu Sangha in a proper Theravada Sima. This is accepted and taken as the beginning of Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha in the present day. In 2001, I went to Sri Lanka and received Samaneri ordination from senior monks in Siam Nikaya and returned again in 2003 to receive Upasambhada or full ordination to become Bhikkhuni in Theravada. My ordination marked the beginning of Theravada Bhikkhuni in Thailand. All of us still have to depend our lineage from Sri Lanka. In 2014, 8 of the Thai Sikhamanas received full ordination at Thipayasthantham in Goyo in the southern part of Thailand. This historical event was attended by 20 monks. The Upachaya was Mahinda Vangsa. The Kamavajacharya was the Venerable Dr. Kalupahana and Venerable Sudama, with 17 Thai monks. On the Bhikkhuni side, there were 12 attended, 2 from Sri Lanka. Venerable Dr. Liu Phop from Vietnam was Kamavajacharini, together with Venerable Santini, the most senior Bhikkhuni from Indonesia. This historical ordination happened on November 29, 2014. On December 11, 2014, the Council of Elders denounced the ordination, which was a Sangha Karma properly done. On top of that, they also forbid any ordination for Bhikkhunis in Theravada tradition. In spite of these difficulties, there are now 285 Bhikkhunis spreading out in 33 provinces. In Thailand, we have 77 provinces. In major aramas like Songtham Kalayani is the oldest one, we offered regular temporary samaneri ordination for 9 days. And this is twice a year, and also during the Vasa. Nirodharama, an arama for Bhikkhunis in Chiang Mai, reported the largest population of Bhikkhunis, around 30 to 40 of them. Venerable Nandayani, the chief Bhikkhuni, passed away in 2022, but the younger Bhikkhunis still strive and they spread out to few aramas in the northern part of the country. In central Thailand, apart from Songtham Kalayani, there are also temples where the Patimokkha recitation is kept. For example, the one in Ban Rai, Uthai Thani. But they do not have the Sangha yet. But the Bhikkhunis around that area sometimes get together and they do the recitation of Patimokkha. In the south, there is Thipayasthantham Arama, now led by Venerable Dhamma Kamala. This is also striving with more social activities. For example, they work with the Muslims to bring about peace in southern part of Thailand. Some of the Bhikkhunis now have gained more than 10 vasas, so they also offer samaneri ordination in their aramas with the hope to increase the Bhikkhuni population. However, when it comes to Upasambhada, we still seek assistance from Bhikkhus and Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka. International assistance is needed regarding the following Vinaya requirement. We all need each other to move on into the prosperous future, trusting that the newly ordained Bhikkhunis are serious to follow Dharma and Vinaya. We need each other to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable Dhammananda. Yes, we all need each other. We are in this together for the benefit of all beings. So I'd like now to introduce the Venerable Bodhicitta Theri from Australia.
Hello, it's Venerable Bodhicitta here from Melbourne. Here I will share information about the Bhikkhunis in Australia and in New Zealand. And also Brother Roy will join me. He's a PhD candidate in Adelaide University and he had conducted a research on Bhikkhunis in Australia and he will share that information later with you. So we have 3 main monasteries, the Dhammasaranand's monastery in Perth and Santi Forest monastery in Sydney and Newbury monastery in Newbury. So ever since this Dhammasaranand's monastery started in Perth in 1998 by Buddhist Society of Western Australia, founding nun was Ajahn Vayama, and Ajahn Vayama's first Bhikkhuni ordination was in 2009 and that was the first Bhikkhuni ordination in Australia land. So ever since then, the Bhikkhunis have grown from that first ordination 4 Bhikkhunis. Then in that monastery itself, they have conducted up to now about 10 ordinations, and they have produced 27 Bhikkhunis. And currently their abbot is Ajahn Hasapanya, and they have 12 Bhikkhunis residing there, and 2 Samaneris and 2 Anagarikas. And their first preceptor was Arya Tathaloka, and then Arya Santini, and now when they're conducting the ordinations from 2021, Arya Hasapanya has been the preceptor. They also offer meditation, Dhamma classes and retreats. The nuns go to their city center and also the retreat center, and they offer these things. And at the Dhammasara nuns monastery itself, what they do is nuns training, and they do ordinations there. And now if we move to the Santi Forest Monastery in Sydney, this is also now being looked after from the Perth, the Dhammasara nuns monastery, it's under them. And the abbot is Venerable Hasapanya, and the acting abbot is Venerable Karuniko. So at Santi Forest Monastery, they also have a now sub-center in city, Lumia Center, where Venerable Nirodha and Venerable Upekka is residing. So there is 2 Bhikkhunis there in the Sydney city, and 2 Bhikkhunis at Santi Forest Monastery, and 1 Samaneri living there. And they have had 1 Bhikkhuni ordination. So then if we come to Newbury Monastery, they have 3 Bhikkhunis residing there currently. Their abbot is Venerable Upekka, and they have had 1 higher ordination in 2023. And they have had about Samaneri ordinations about 6. So all these monasteries actually mainly focus on training the nuns to become full ordained Bhikkhunis. But the venerables, the Bhikkhunis, go to their city center and also other centers, and they do teach meditation, Dhamma classes, retreats. But in their centers, mainly what they do is all these 3 centers, Dhammasara, Santi, and Newbury Monastery. What they do is it's primarily set up for the nun as a nuns training center, and they do the ordinations. Then we have Bhikkhuni Suvira in Metarama in Sydney. There is 1 Bhikkhuni there. And there is another Bhikkhuni in Sydney called Bhikkhuni Sudhira at Itiya Dhammadasa Center. And there is 1 Bhikkhuni in Santachari in Adelaide at Dakkina Dhammatala Vihara. And then there is another 1 Bhikkhuni Seri in Perth at Patachara Hermitage. And there is Bhikkhuni Mahavira in Tasmania at Wat Buddha Chatuparis Jayanti. And there is Bhikkhuni Adimutta in New Zealand at this New Zealand Bhikkhuni ST Urban Vihara. And they all do the meditation classes, Dhamma talks, they give them, and they offer things for the public. And in Melbourne, here I am, Venerable Bodhicitta in Melbourne, and I also do teach meditation and Dhamma classes, and we conduct retreats as well. So here is a snapshot of the Bhikkhunis in Australia ever since from 2009. So we have so many Bhikkhunis now. So in Australia, now we have 24 Bhikkhunis altogether. So we started the Bhikkhuni ordinations in 2009, from 2009 up to 2024. Within 17 years period time, there has been 24 Bhikkhunis in this down under, in the Australian continent. So it is growth from where the Theravada bedrock is from Sri Lanka and in South Asia. Now in Australian continent, by 2024, we have Bhikkhunis who have set up centers, and 24 Bhikkhunis now living in Australian continent. So I think that is a good news that I have to share with you. And that is big progress. So we are very happy about that. It's slow, but I think it's very steady, and it's growing thanks to a lot of the venerable monks, the bhikkhus who are supporting this movement in Australia land. And also there is one brother Roy, who is studying at Adelaide Uni, doing his PhD. And he's also a very big supporter of Bhikkhunis, and he had done a research on gender equity, and he will share now his research results with you all. Hope you will enjoy. So thank you very much. May you all be well and happy. From now, Brother Roy will take over. Thank you. May you all be well and happy.
Thanks, Aya. G'day, everyone. My name is Roy from Adelaide University. And for the past 3 years, I have had a wonderful time riding around various monasteries, viharas, talking to the most beautiful people in the world. It has been a wonderful, wonderful project looking at the nuns here in Australia. Now, you've seen some of the photos on the previous slides of my trips, but to give you an idea of the scale of things, this is Dharmasara. I mean, it's absolutely massive. We're looking at 235 hectares of natural bushland in God's own country. This is, you've got kangaroos, you've got native birds, you've got native trees. It is just such a beautiful, beautiful monastery. Likewise, you've got Newbury. It's rolling green hills of alpine forest. It used to be a horse riding school that was purchased by the Buddhist Society of Victoria. And you've got the nuns on one side of the property in the horse riding school. You've got a large retreat centre that you can see being built in the middle there. It's going to be absolutely amazing once that's built, state of the art. And then on the far side of the property, you have the monks' quarters. So just a beautiful, beautiful place to do your practice. Santee is just set in some of the most beautiful subtropical rainforests you will come across. That's about 2 hours south of Sydney, and it's all got some lovely limestone caves in there where they can do some of the practice and meditation. Little kuttis scattered throughout the forest. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, to give you an idea of the study, it's an unusual study because I'm one of the academics that actually goes and talks to the nuns, which is very unusual. We've done semi-structured interviews with 12 nuns, 8 monks and 4 lay people. We've travelled around to not every monastery or vihara, but we've managed to capture a fair few of them here. The questions that we've been asking people have ranged from questions on ordination and monastic rules, how the nuns and the monks perceive the Garudharma, how they perceive feminism, how the voices of the nuns heard. What's the difference between a monk and a nun? What sort of resources are they getting here? What sort of barriers are they facing? And the main barriers that have come up here in Australia, visas and local government planning permissions as being two of the main things that they've had. Multiculturalism has been an important part of the study. Not all of our Buddhist communities are fully accepting of the Bhikkhunis yet, but it is getting better and better. And we asked some questions on life in Australia. And then we compared this to what the international studies have been saying about Bhikkhunis overseas. And let me tell you, the Australian Bhikkhunis are doing pretty good. Here's some examples of some of the things that have been said. I won't read out the slides, you can see what they're there. But in regards to ordination, the Bhikkhunis are quite adamant that they have a validity and a lineage to be legitimate Theravadan Bhikkhunis, and that the fourfold Sangha is alive and well here. One of the big issues that came out is that it's such a young community. Our Bhikkhuni Sangha is only, 15, 16 years old. And so they don't get to live with the monks that have been around for 30, 40, 50 vasas. And so that's something that they're developing their own practice, and they're putting so much effort into that, and it's wonderful to see. And we talked about multiculturalism, and one of the things that we see here is a real fear in the lay community in particular that Buddhism in Australia might be seen by their children or their grandchildren as being something from mum and dad's old country that's not so relevant to them. They want a Buddhism that they see in multicultural Australia, and that means having monks and nuns of all different nationalities, and that gender equality is a big thing here in Australia, and they want it to be perfectly relevant for their kids to have Bhikkhunis here. So that's a very, very brief overview of the study. So happy International Bhikkhuni Day, everyone, and sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Thank you, Venerable Bodhicitta, and thank you, Brother Roy. A great presentation, and a very important element there about the relevance of the Bhikkhuni, of the monastic Sangha. You know, when it's particularly in Western cultures, you know, if women are not considered part of the monastic Sangha, then the monastic Sangha becomes somewhat irrelevant to the culture, because certainly in the cultures that I have come from and live in, equal opportunities, equality is a big thing, and so this is another important aspect, that not just that it's the right thing to do, that women also get to ordain, but that it's relevant to ordinary people, that maybe makes all the difference between them hearing the Dhamma and not hearing the Dhamma, or having faith in the Buddha's teaching and not having faith in the Buddha's teaching. So if there's an institution that excludes such a large population of the world, how can one have faith in it? This is a conundrum. This is an issue for many people. So appreciate that aspect being presented there. So I'd like now to introduce Venerable Palanyani Theri in Germany.
Namaskar. This is Ayya Palanyani speaking from Anenja Vihara in Germany. My respects to all the bhikkhus and all the bhikkhunis, and greetings and blessings to the lay people who might see this. I would like to talk to you about the Bhikkhuni development in Germany. The historical presence of Bhikkhunis in Germany is actually quite short. It is very recent history, to be honest. The first Bhikkhuni, as far as I know, was Ayya Khema. She was Jewish German, born in 1923, and she received seminary ordination in 1979. Then it took a while for her to receive Bhikkhuni ordination, which could happen then in 1988. She came back to Germany in 1998 and founded the Buddha House, the Buddha House is a meditation center and a seminar center. In recent days, there are courses of various lay teachers, almost no monastics anymore. And she intended to found monastery for bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. The land was purchased and it was offered to the Sangha in 1979, but she could not live there. She died in that very same year, just very, very briefly after the inauguration of that monastery. Unfortunately, all the places Ayya Khema founded all over the world, may that be in Sri Lanka, Australia, America, or Germany, are no longer places for bhikkhunis. They have been taken over by either bhikkhus or lay people. And it is very difficult or impossible for bhikkhunis to stay there. So the next one I know of was Ayya Dhamma. She founded Kloster Hasselpracht, which is a German name. And she is in robes since 1985. I do not know when exactly her Bhikkhuni ordination took place. Being in robes means like in other ordination forms. But nonetheless, she is now a Mahateri and lives in her monastery, which is beautiful and huge. She lives alone with support of lay people. Then the next one would be Ayya Suchinta. She ordained as a bhikkhuni in 1998 in Bodh Gaya. She was abbess of the Anenja Vihara, but she left the monastery in 2017, in December of 1917, to practice. And now she is moving places and seeing teachers and doing her practice of meditation to strive for freedom from suffering. Kloster Hassel and Anenja Vihara were founded in 2007, both the same year. There is a discussion which was first. I don't know, actually. It's one had the association first, the other had the place first. So there's the discussion which place actually was a monastery first, but let it be the same time, the same year in 2007. That must have been a very, very auspicious year for Germany, that it was possible to have two Bhikkhuni monasteries. The Anenja Vihara was founded by Ayya Mudita, then a Bhikkhuni. Now she is a samaneri. She lives as a samaneri in Germany. After her departure, Ayya Suchinta took over the lead of Anenja Vihara, And both of them prepared the monastery and prepared the area here in Bavaria very, very well, so that I could easily take over in 2018. My name, as I said, is Ayya Palaniani. I received ordination, Bhikkhuni ordination in Rania Bodhi Hermitage with Ayya Pataluka as my preceptor, as my Pavatini, in 2010. And so I just had recently, very, very recently, my 14th Vasa as a Bhikkhuni. And since I am in the Anenja Vihara, it developed quite well, I must say. We spend this year the rainy season, the Vasa, presently with 8 nuns. 4 of us are Bhikkhunis. One of the Bhikkhunis already received her independency after last Vasa and is now staying in Thailand with teachers and deepening her practice, because it is a requirement of Anenja Vihara that the Bhikkhunis, once they receive their independency, that they go on a journey. They are still part of Anenja Vihara. They are not kicked out. We are still in good friendship and they might come back. But Ayya Anuvidita, she's my first student who received independency and is now on her. The next 3 are receiving their independency this year after this Vasa. These are Rakita, Sachika, and Jutindra. Rakita is a Swiss woman and she intends to stay in Europe, might, with the help of friends, be able to settle in another place in northern Germany. That's not sure yet. There are other options for her wandering years. She might also even come to Asia, but the climate is not for her. So she intends to do her wandering years in Europe or colder countries. So Sachika would love to go to Burma, which I don't think is very advisable, but also wants to stay in Germany or in Europe. And then Jutindra Bhikkhuni is a Cambodian native, Cambodian born. She will go as soon as possible back to Cambodia. And some Bhikkhu friends who are very supportive of the Bhikkhuni Sangha might help her to find a place where she can settle, where she can receive more teachings until she is ready to open her own Bhikkhuni monastery in Cambodia. This might take some years, and we can just hope that it doesn't take too long, because I would be very, very happy to be the preceptor of all the Cambodian women who want to ordain as Bhikkhunis. So then we have 2 seminaries, one seminary, Vinita, who is German and will stay with me in Germany in Anenja Vihara. She had a heart attack, so she decided not to become a Bhikkhuni, which also means that she doesn't need to go on her wandering year. Then we have seminary Arindama, and she is a Spanish seminary whom I ordained as my Gya gave seminary ordination, and who is a Sayalay since many, many years. And she had a place in Barcelona. She was teaching already as a nun in Barcelona, Spain, and they gave up that place. And now, just very recently, the new monastery Saranavana is set up in Calacete, which is in Spain, Teruel, and there is one town center and a countryside monastery, which will be built with kutis and meditation hall and so on. This also is a process, but she is one of our nuns. She's one of the Anenja Vihara nuns, and her Bhikkhuni ordination will take place next year, 25th of June. So 25th of June in 25. Then, of course, there are other Bhikkhunis. In Germany, there is Ayya Sila Vadhani, who founded Dhammanikam, a young Bhikkhuni who is not very senior, same as Ayya Tesarini, who founded Siddhisampano Monastery, also in Germany. They both are maybe 3 Vasa, 4 Vasa, but they both started their monasteries or their places before they became Bhikkhunis. So it was just for them a logic step to become a Bhikkhuni, to be able to to better lead their places. But then to give you a little bit update, because I also mentioned Spain, I want to mention Tellurian at Belgium in Europe, which was led by Ayya Vimala and seems to be abandoned by her. I don't know whether that is temporary or she comes back. She is presently on Tudong in America. And then a new monastery is just presently being founded in Italy by Ayya Soma, whom you know. She also is not very senior, but very diligent in the Dhamma, in the teaching of the Dhamma, and full of energy, and now setting up a monastery in Puglia, Italia. And then we have Ayya Vimalanyani. She is, I think, has 6 or 7 vasa by now, and she is living in Chan Monastery. I think Vasa moon, that should be called like water moon. It's in Eastern Germany. So this is about, I think, it. That's what we have in Germany and in Europe. England is no longer Europe, but there also are, I think, 2 places. One, but I'm not too sure how, in which stages they are. I forgot to mention there is in the Czech Republic, there's also Bhikkhuni monastery by not Vimala. I'm very sorry. I can't tell you. Maybe when I speak a little bit longer, it comes to mind. All the Bhikkhunis now are living in Germany, at least, in a very, very harmonious relationship with the bhikkhus. We have very well-known bhikkhus, even of the forest tradition, who are recognizing us as bhikkhunis and who even go as far as coming to the ceremonies to recognize, to witness the Bhikkhuni ordinations. Unfortunately, Buddhism in general, that has nothing to do with the Bhikkhunis, but Buddhism in general is not recognized as a religion in Germany yet. We are working on that, but I don't know whether that will come in my lifetime or not. In Spain, it is recognized. In Austria, Buddhism is recognized as religion, but no, Germany, not yet. So please give us your blessings that Buddhism will be recognized in Germany one day, very, very soon. And by now, I already remember it is Bhikkhuni Visuddhiteri, and her monastery is called Karuna Sevana. So I think by this I gave you a very, very brief but complete overview over the Bhikkhunis and Bhikkhuni monasteries in Germany and Europe. Thank you for your attention. Be well. May you receive or experience, freedom from suffering.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Venerable Palignani. And just to clarify around Tellurian Monastery, so it's a small hermitage in Belgium. So Ayya Vimala is still the abbess of Tellurian, and will be handing over to a person who is still in process. So I'm not going to mention the name at this point, but definitely Tellurian has not been abandoned. And Ayya Vimala has just been on a 300-kilometer tudong in the US down the Oregon coast, and is now back in Belgium. And so a Venerable Visuddhi that was mentioned there is Karuna Seva. That's in the Czech Republic and has been established for a long time. And Venerable Visuddhi offers a lot of programs for people teaching meditation and Dhamma. And in the UK, there's actually only one Bhikkhuni monastery established at this time, and that's Ayya Chanda has established the Anukampa Bhikkhuni Grove just outside of Oxford. And she has the wonderful support of Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Brahmali, who are really keen to see the Bhikkhuni Sangha thrive. And Ayya Chanda has also had support from the local Burmese bhikkhus. They have come and chanted blessings and offered their appreciation and support for her presence there in the Oxford area. And one more person who's actually a hermit, so it doesn't get mentioned in Italy, is Venerable Dhammadina. And Venerable Dhammadina is co-founder of the Agama Research Project, which is sort of clearing and illuminating teachings and texts that have been, does a lot of study, and they're often behind the scenes. Also works with the Venerable Analio, who is a great supporter of the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And Venerable Dhammadina also offers teachings in Italian and in English to the lay community. So just to broaden that out a little bit. And I'd like now to introduce Venerable Sumangala Bhikkhuni in Malaysia.
Namo Buddhaya. Most respected Venerable Bhikkhu Sangha, Bhikkhuni Sangha, lay male Upasaka, and lay female Upasikas, and dear friends. In the serene grove of ancient wisdom, the Buddha stands as the luminous founder of the Fourfold Assembly, a harmonious convergence of bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, upasakas, and upasikas. Just as the river Ganges inclines, slopes, flows, and merges with the sea, so too Master Gautama's assembly, with its recluses and its householders, inclines towards Nibbana, slopes towards Nibbana, flows towards Nibbana, and merges with Nibbana.
Go forth for the good of the many, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world, for the welfare, the good and the happiness of gods and men. Teach the Dhamma, beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, and beautiful in the end.
The purity and completeness of the Buddha's dispensation shine brightly through the noble accomplishments of these four assemblies. Their collective efforts illuminate the world, nurturing the Dhamma's path to all beings. King Ashoka of India, the great patron of Buddhism, dispatched 9 eminent missionaries. Among them, Venerable Sona and Venerable Uttara traveled to Suvarnabhumi, present-day Malaysia, to propagate the Buddha's teachings. Archaeological discovery revealed that Theravada and Mahayana Buddhism have graced this land since the 2nd to 12th century AD. In the late 19th century, the second wave of Buddhism experienced a significant milestone with the establishment of the Buddhist Mahavihara in Kuala Lumpur, a beacon of Theravada practice. The 20th century saw a remarkable figure, Venerable Dhammananda Nayaka Mahathera, in the propagation of Theravada Buddhism in Malaysia. As the chief prelate of Malaysia and Singapore from 1965, he was renowned for his missionary work and the establishment of the local Bhikkhu Sangha. A visionary, Venerable was instrumental in the revival of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in the world, leading to the higher ordination of 140 Bhikkhunis in Bogaya in 1998. His commitment to the Dhamma also led to the introduction of a short-term seminary novitiate program in Malaysia in 2003. Venerable said that someone has to lead, to establish a training center and a good training program for the Bhikkhunis. Then the Bhikkhuni Sangha will flourish. In the early 21st century, Malaysian women seeking a formal commitment to the monastic life faced a significant challenge. There was no established framework for novice nuns or Bhikkhunis within Malaysia. They traveled to countries like Sri Lanka, Australia, and India. Their quest was not only to receive formal ordination, but also to immerse themselves in a supportive monastic environment that adhere closely to the monastic code. Some stay in overseas, while others return to Malaysia to practice on their own, with some endeavor to establish Bhikkhuni Center.
Inspired by the late Venerable K. Sri Dhammananda to lead and develop the first Malaysian Theravada Bhikkhuni nunnery, Venerable Sumangala initiated the formation of Arya Vihara Buddhist Society.
Arya Vihara able to establish within 9 years period. You're going to have it for your own shelter. It's not that easy thing. shelter not purchased by yourself, raise shelter, apply to the government. The Sri Lanka government allocate the place due to your merits as well. It's not that simply easily can get it, you know. Whatever you've done for the community, the realization that, and also the recognize your own effort in order to serve mankind, especially for the spiritual journey. That's where they're given for that piece of land. The Arya Vihara establishment for the society, establishment of the Sunday school, establishment of charity activities, establishment coming for the doing so much, the charity welfare and the social activities beside the spiritual activities. That's very important. Be able to touch, be able to reach the people. That's another important thing. Being the lead person, especially for the female person, Bhikkhuni, there's no barrier to communicate with the women. Much easier. They're able to discuss certain things. That's why Arya is important part of that, to have it in this country, then able to do the bigger service. We require more ladies to realize, you know, their time able to contribute to the Sasana development in the Bhikkhuni Sangha development in Malaysia. That's a great dana. I strongly believe it. If you want to perform certain dharma to the mankind, it's a golden opportunity. Yes.
Arya Vihara is not just a center for spiritual practice, but also a hub for community development. Its programs include monastic and laity training, short-term seminary program, family Dhamma education, meditation retreats, pilgrimages, special events, and charity. Collaborative efforts with international Bhikkhuni societies and other Buddhist organizations further enrich its offerings. A significant milestone was reached on April 23, 2024, when the Theravada Bhikkhuni Sima, a consecrated boundary required for legitimate ordination, initiated by Venerable Sumangala Bhikkhuni, was established at Arya Vihara, Kuasa Dhammasara, Malaysia. This pivotal moment was facilitated by 17 senior Bhikkhunis from 6 countries and marked a historical step forward in Malaysia's monastic community, that Theravada Bhikkhuni higher ordination can now be conducted in Malaysia.
Of course, I'm very happy that finally you have the first Bhikkhunis, the Sima establishment, with the help of many others, very senior nuns from other various countries. So I think this is a very historic moment, right, in our Malaysian history, as well as I think the Theravada Bhikkhunis in this part of the world.
I'm very thankful to Ayah Sumangala for offering the valuable opportunity for me to contribute my experience from the engineering and development industry towards the new Arya Vihara building project, which will be a great offering to the Sangha of the 4 directions and for the profit and benefit of the many.
I've learned that whatever we do now will have a huge impact on what will become later or in the future.
Namo Buddhaya, Sukhi Hontu. In 2019, I enrolled in the 3-year Arya Monastic and Laity Training Program, which I completed in 2022. After participating in the TSNP for the 2nd time in Malacca, which further deepened my communal learning, I became an Anagarika at Arya Vihara. Thereafter, I was ordained as a seminary in Bodh Gaya, India, during the International Bhikkhuni Ordination Event 2022, organized by MBSI and UTBSI. I am now looking forward to receiving my Bhikkhuni higher ordination next year. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I also learned to associate with the wise one, but not the fools. As Ayah always emphasized that the wise one is to put the Dhamma into practice, I learned to pay attention to my mind, speech, and bodily action, and it helps me to cultivate the wholesomeness and abandon some of my sensual desires. My Dhamma knowledge grows day by day and my confidence increases. The highest skills are my temperament transformed to metta, and my merit banks
was about too.
In Arya, I've learned how to meditate and the concept of mindfulness. Now I have the tools on hand to better manage my well-being. From here, I also learned the 5 precepts and the Eightfold Paths that now serve as the guide for my day-to-day conduct.
Having a better and deeper understanding of the Dharma has greatly encouraged me to practice more diligently and mindfully. I am also thankful for the opportunity to serve as one of the event organizers. Working with a team of faithful and compassionate members of Arya is indeed enriching, empowering, and rewarding in so many aspects. We have so much to learn from each other, and I am thankful for the support and selfless service of everyone.
The journey towards a vibrant Bhikkhuni Sangha in Malaysia continues, marked by dedication, collaboration, and the shared vision of nurturing the Dhamma for the benefit of the many. In conclusion, the growth of Bhikkhuni Sangha in Malaysia is sustained by the Fourfold Assembly, practicing together in harmony. Long live the Buddha Sasana. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Sumangala. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very inspiring photographs there of the Sangha, and wonderful to hear from the lay community the impact of having Bhikkhunis there in Malaysia. So finally, I'd like to invite Venerable Sakya Dhammadina, Bhikkhuni in India, to share her presentation.
Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. I pay my respect to all the venerables listening to this video. I am Bhikkhuni Dhammadina from India. On this occasion of Bhikkhuni Sangha Day, we pay our respect and much gratitude to our mother, Sangha Nayika Mahaprajapati Gautami, and we must pay respect to her courage, her initiative in this journey. Because of her, today we are here together, Bhikkhunis from all over the world. And it all started around 2,500 years ago in India. I'm very happy to be a part of this Bhikkhuni Sangha. And I'm very happy that today we are getting opportunity to celebrate the Bhikkhuni Sangha Day together. So, for India, because we know that Bhikkhuni Sangha started in Vaisali around 2,500 years ago, and along with Mahaprajapati, 500 Sakyanis, they also took ordination in Vaisali, and the Bhikkhuni Sangha started. But there was a time when there was no Bhikkhuni in India, and in modern times, if we talk about, so in modern times, many Bhikkhunis, they took initiative and they left their home to become the Bhikkhunis. Many women, they left their home to become the Bhikkhunis. And the new journey started in 1996, when the first ordination was held in Saranath for Bhikkhunis. So there is a long journey of Bhikkhunis. And now if we talk about India, then in India we have a lot of Bhikkhunis right now. As I came to know from our senior Bhikkhuni, the most senior Bhikkhuni, Shilachara Mahatheri, because we know that the first Bhikkhuni from India was Visakha Mahatheri, who passed away 2 years ago. And now we have Silachara Mahatheri, the second most senior. And if we talk about the present time, so in the present time, she is the first most senior Bhikkhuni. So I always invite her because she is very old. It is difficult for her to travel. But whenever I invite her, she comes to give blessings and to support us. So when I asked her so many questions about the Bhikkhunis, she told me that right now in India, though we don't have a lot of Bhikkhunis according to Indian population, but recently we have around 150 Bhikkhunis all around India, and most of them are from Maharashtra. We know that because of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the journey of Buddhism started again, which was stopped in somewhere in the middle. So it started again in 1956. And now we have around 150 Bhikkhunis around India. And if we talk about the seminaries, so we have around 100 seminary in India. So altogether, if we talk about, there are around 250 Bhikkhunis and seminaries in India right now. And if we talk about the centers of Bhikkhuni, though we don't have a proper training center, but we have many viharas in which Bhikkhunis are staying, and some viharas are owned by Bhikkhunis. Like we have in Maharashtra, because Maharashtra is the chief of Buddhism, chief state of Buddhism in India right now. So in Maharashtra, we have around 6 centers, out of which 4 are in Nagpur. So it is very amazing because I was also staying in Nagpur. So there are 4 Bhikkhuni viharas in Nagpur, and one is in Aurangabad, and the last one is in Nanded district. And one is in Shravasti, which is running Bhikkhuni Dhamma Megha. She is also from Maharashtra, but she is running the temple in Shravasti, and she has many young seminaries with her. So we have around 6 to 7 centers, and for the Bhikkhunis, if we say, there are many temples in which Bhikkhunis are staying that we cannot count even. So we have quite a small number of centers running in India, but hopefully it will grow and grow, because now Bhikkhunis are stepping forward to teach Dhamma more and more, to learn Dhamma more and more, and now they are knowing the technologies as well. So these 6 or 7 centers are the main centers in India, and others are small temples in which Bhikkhunis, like 1 Bhikkhuni or 2 Bhikkhunis, are staying. And if we talk about my activities in growing Bhikkhuni Sangha, so though it is not much, but I am trying my best. We are organizing temporary ordination programs. Not only we, many Bhikkhuni Sangha are organizing now. What I have seen that 2-3 years ago, if we talk about like up to during COVID, there was no seminary camp. If there was, very less, like 1 or 2. But now after COVID, we can see from last 3 years, there are many temporary seminary ordination programs in India, especially during the month of May and June, because it is very hot here during the month of May and June. And we have the summer vacation at that time for around 1 or 1.5 months. So most of the girls are free during that time, so they take ordination. So right now, from last 3 years, we are having a lot of ordination program, out of which I have organized 3 programs already. One was in Nagpur in 2022. The second, in 2023, I organized 2 programs. The first one was in MP, Multai, and the third one was in Saranath with the help of Mahabodhi Society of India, Saranath. And now in this year, we are organizing it again, temporary seminary ordination in Bodh Gaya during Tripitaka chanting in the month of December, in which around 45 women and girls will take ordination. So this is the first activity. The second is the Bhikkhuni Day now is being celebrated in India from last 2 years, and this year we are celebrating Bhikkhuni Day in Bangalore and in Mumbai as well. In Bangalore, we are organizing it in September. Some Bhikkhuni Sangha, they are organizing it. And in October, we are organizing it in Mumbai. So now we are celebrating the Bhikkhuni Sangha Day as well. And we are taking online classes because up to now what I have seen is after COVID, the online classes, it increases day by day. And mostly the bhikkhus were teaching online. So this year during Vasa, I called some bhikkhuni and I got 3 bhikkhunis ready for online classes. So now every day in the morning, around 300 people join us, and 3 bhikkhunis weekly, like every Tuesday, every Wednesday, and every Saturday, and me myself on Sunday and Monday. So 5 days a week we are teaching online also. So now bhikkhunis are becoming aware of technologies also, and now they are able to teach online also. So this is happening in India right now for the growth of Bhikkhuni Sangha. Many temporary seminary ordinations and online activities of Bhikkhuni teaching online, and centers, 6 to 7 centers, and many temples in which Bhikkhunis are residing. Around 250 Bhikkhunis plus seminaries are residing. So these are the activities running in India. But if we talk about the Seema for Upsampada, so we don't have a permanent Seema for Upsampada. I came to know there was a Seema in Bodh Gaya, but I tried to find, but I could not find it. So there is no permanent Seema right now. We don't have a permanent Seema right now, but I believe that we will have that soon. So these are the activities running in India. May the Bhikkhuni Sangha grow in India and in the world. May the Bhikkhu Sangha also grow in India and the world. May the Buddha Sasana grow. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Venerable. It's very inspiring to hear of the Bhikkhunis in India, you know, where all of the Buddhas originate from and where the Bhikkhuni Sangha began. The one video that is missing from this presentation is from the USA, and that will be available on the UTBSI YouTube channel later. It was unable to be uploaded, unfortunately, in time for this occasion. But I would like to just mention, in the United States, we have Buddha Chatuparisa Vihara up in Fairbanks, Alaska. Carolina Buddhist Vihara in South Carolina with Ayasudina Terry. Mahateri perhaps now. We have Charlotte Buddhist Vihara with Ayasudama. And we have Dhammadharini and Aranyabodhi. So Dhammadharini being a vihara, and Aranyabodhi hermitage, which are the places of Ayatataloka and Ayasobana Bhikkhunis in California. And at Aranyabodhi, we just recently had the ordination of Seminary Tavira. So she's now Bhikkhuni Tavira. And she was the president of Alliance for Bhikkhunis previously. So she just recently ordained and expressed her immense gratitude and joy in being able to live this monastic life, you know. It is amazing also in the West that it's possible, but it is possible. And there's Dhammachetya Buddhist Vihara in Massachusetts with Venerable Gautami Mahateri, Embracing Simplicity Hermitage with Venerable Panyavati Terry in North Carolina. We have Empty Cloud Monastery in New Jersey, which was co-founded by Ayasoma, who is now also establishing a place in Italy. Karuna Buddhist Vihara. This is a beautiful forest monastery in the Redwoods with Venerable Santusika Bhikkhuni and Venerable Chidananda Bhikkhuni. We have Lotus Meditation and Education Center in California, in LA, with Bhikkhuni Susila. Mahapajapati monastery, Ayya Gunasari, is very old now, and she is still present at Mahapajapati Monastery. It's a very quiet place now with her as a resident. And we have Samadhi Buddhist Meditation Center in Florida that is founded and run by Bhikkhuni Sudarshana Mahateri, who was I think the youngest Bhikkhuni to ordain in 1996 in India. And we also have here Parayana Vihara. We have a small Vihara, myself and the seminarian Anagarika in Washington State, and we have Pasadi Vihara with 2 Bhikkhunis. In Canada, we have Sati Saraniya Hermitage, where there are 3 Bhikkhunis, and Canmore Theravada Buddhist Monastery, where there's 1 Bhikkhuni. So I wanted to also just to bring in just to mention the US Sangha, because our video is missing, and also that there's an Awada. So on the full and new moons, we have a international English Awada for English-speaking Bhikkhunis that is a bi-monthly that's presented by elder bhikkhus, both Sri Lankan bhikkhus and Canadian bhikkhus. So just to mention that, and just say again that the video will be available on the ITBSI YouTube channel. So we have come to an end of the presentations, and there's an opportunity now for some discussion and Q&A. So I'm not sure how this is, how we're going to see the questions. Just wait a moment. And let's just take this moment to take in all of the strength and the determination and the generosity and the metta of all of these bhikkhunis and also venerable bhikkhus.
Venerable Ananda Bodhi. So
Yes.
I think now it is time for the discussion. All the participants may put the questions to all the speakers who are now present in our forum. So if anyone would like to have a question, they can type on the text box, and then our admins will collect all the questions. And I think it's good that if you can put the name of the bhikkhuni whom you would like to ask. For example, if you ask the questions about Malaysian Bhikkhuni Sangha, then you can say that I will ask Venerable Sumangala or the Malaysian Bhikkhuni. So we have about 20 minutes discussion.
Thank you, Venerable. So I'm sorry, I'm not quite clear how I will see the questions.
I think that it may take some minutes for everyone think about what they haven't listened so clearly and what they would like to know more.
Thank you.
So I would like to ask Venerable Ananda Bodhi more about the situation of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in the US, so that in case in the whole city you have only 1 or 2 Bhikkhunis, then it's very difficult for you to recite the Patimokkha. So what do? Sometimes you join the big community, or you just make the confession.
Yes, there are groups of bhikkhunis, so who will gather online and make confession, clear offences with each other. And as for the Patimokkha, we do that when we are gathered. So there will be actually long periods of time where we're not actually reciting the Patimokkha, but we can still read it through, but we're not gathering as a Sangha to recite it. So we still live by the Patimokkha, and we have I think there are different bhikkhunis hold the Vinaya differently. So we have a group of bhikkhunis who feel a similar attunement to the way of holding the Patimokkha, who will gather and go through the Vinaya, particularly through the Vasa time. So we go through that together and to discuss, and we can also clear any offences with each other in that way. And then if we're one of the smaller communities, which I'm part of now, then we would do Patimokkha if we visit one of the larger communities. Yeah. As yet, we haven't actually gathered in order to do Patimokkha specifically. It would be more when we visit. So let me see. So Sonam Gaikwad. I'm looking for a guru as I aspire to become a bhikkhuni one day. What should I consider before ordination? How do I choose a guru? It's important for me to find a safe and supportive environment as a woman. I'm from India. So since you're from India, I would suggest that you speak with Venerable Dhammadina is responding if you're here, Venerable Dhammadina. So I think for everyone who's seeking bhikkhuni ordination, first of all, it is simpler in terms of visas and so on if you're able to find a place in your own country. And we generally recommend that you visit a few different places if there are a few. Visit a few places and see how you feel about the teacher there and the practice there, and whether this would be supportive to your practice. And we have internet where we can see what's going on around the world in different bhikkhuni monasteries. So people certainly do travel to other countries to join communities. But the best way to find your teacher is to visit places and meet bhikkhunis, meet elder bhikkhunis. So from Vandana. Dear Bhikkhuni Sangha, much appreciation for all the hard work. I'm curious to know if bhikkhunis were living in communities during the Buddha's time and why it can't be done today. We see many bhikkhunis are either living as pairs or alone. I could answer that, and I'd also like to just put it up for any other bhikkhunis present of the panel who would like to answer that.
Namo Buddhaya, Venerable Bhikkhuni Dhammadina from India here. As Sonam Gaikwad has asked a question to be a bhikkhuni and to have a place safe for women. So Sonam, you can contact me. I have shared my WhatsApp number in chat box, so we can find something. If you would like to take temporary ordination, so we are going to have temporary ordination this year in December in Bodh Gaya. So you can plan and you can just send me a message if you want to experience the bhikkhuni life for temporary. So you can join us in December. And if you would like to take ordination permanently for the whole life, then we can discuss on WhatsApp and then I can help you in that. Thank you, Venerable. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Would anyone like to respond to the question about communities?
Well, I would like to answer the question by Vandana Bhikkhuni. She asked that, she said that, I'm curious to know if bhikkhunis were living in communities during Buddha's time and why it can't be done today. As we see, many bhikkhunis are either living at pairs or alone. So I think that it's, of course, in the Buddha's time, the bhikkhunis were living in the communities. And in the present time, the rule is the same. But I think that you can see that some nunneries where there are many bhikkhunis staying together, not always living as pairs or living alone. For example, in Nirotharama, in Chiang Mai Nirotharama, there are 70 bhikkhunis and samaneris staying. In my nunnery, Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama, there are 50 bhikkhunis and samaneris. And in Kemarama, also in Vietnam, about 20. And then in Chongthama Kanyani, in Venerable Thammananda's place, also 20. So, but in other places, where there are so few bhikkhunis, for example, in Malaysia, like Venerable Sumangala, how can she find a big group? Because there are only now one bhikkhuni and one samaneri in this area. But the idea is that whenever, first, if we are alone, then we need to work hard to propagate the Dhamma and also to educate people and to inspire them to become monastics.
And then if the numbers of the Bhikkhunis grows, then we can stay together. But if we cannot have many nuns, many Bhikkhunis, if we stay in alone, it is our experience. It is not because we choose to stay alone or not allowed others to stay with us. If in that cases, if we have the big places, but we don't want others to stay due to their own liking or disliking, so it will be a problem. So we cannot criticize that if someone stay alone, it is that they don't follow the rule of the Buddha.
Thank you. And we have another question for Ayya Dhammadina in India. Namo Buddhaya Ayaji. This is from Prince in Italy. I want to ask, how is the growth of Buddhism in general in India? Is it growing year by year? Also, as a layperson, what do we do to support? Thank you.
So will you invite Venerable Dhammadina from India to answer this question?
So Venerable Dhammadina, if you are able to answer this question, that would be most appreciated. Thank you.
Prince from Italy. He is a great supporter of Buddhism for India. And also the Vandana to whom Ayya Vidita Dhamma has given the answer. She is also from India but staying in US. She is an Upasika. And Prince, yes, the question that the general growth of Buddhism in India is good. Actually, it's growing year by year, but like people nowadays, they are more into the deep teachings of Buddha. Up till now, we have seen that until now, people usually, they believe the like casteism, that we are adopting Buddhism just to leave the casteism, just to hide our caste, and just to get equal status in the society. But now people are educating themselves and they are going into the real teachings of Buddhism. So yes, the Buddhism is growing in India, the Bhikkhu Sangha and the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And the good thing is that young Bhikkhus and young Bhikkhunis are taking interest in ordination and learning Buddhism deeply, not just to hide themselves from casteism. So this is the good thing which I can observe nowadays. And as a lay person, if you would like to support, what I think is that though we have a lot of young Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis in India right now, but because of lack of training centers, they are not fully trained. Not even the Bhikkhus, not even the Bhikkhunis and Samanir and Samaniris. So we are trying to have more and more training centers where newly ordained Samanir and Samaniris and even the Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis who have not trained in the past, so they can get training, because the number of Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis are growing, but because of lack of training, the condition is sometimes the same. So I think as a lay person, you can support us to have the more training centers where not only Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis get training, but also the lay people can get training as an Upasak and Upasika. So this is what we can do. So in this way, we can share the real Buddha's teaching to them. And I think as a lay person, you should support India to have the more training centers, because we already have a lot of Buddhist temples, made by communities, and Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis are staying in the temples of communities, but without training. So it is good if we can have more training centers, is what I can see the condition in India right now.
Thank you so much, Venerable. And this ties in with the question from Samaneri Arya Vimalani. What training programs are in place for newly ordained bhikkhunis, and how do they differ from Samaneri training programs? I mean, generally across the globe. It's a global question, and it'd be nice to hear from one of the other bhikkhunis present.
We should ask whether any of our bhikkhunis would like to answer this question. Here we have Ayya Santini, Ayya Vichitananda, Ayya Sumangala. So if any one of you would like to answer the question, please raise your hand. So otherwise, then
I could say
then I would like to answer this question, because in our temple, in our nunnery, we also have many newly ordained bhikkhunis. So before and after the ordination, we have the Vinaya class for the bhikkhunis, even before they get full ordination. Because you know that before the ordination, Usually we have the text, the dissemination on the candidates, on Buddha Dhamma in general, and on the Bhikkhuni Vinaya. So in order to pass the examination, so we need to train our samaneris before they go to get full ordination. That is a pre-ordination training. And after they come back from the ordination, they continue to be trained in the Buddha Dhamma also in general with a higher level of Sutra and Abhidhamma. And also, especially, they need to practice Vinaya. They need to know how to make confession, Apati Desana. They should know how to recite the Patimokkha. And they also should know how to read the Kamavacha in a certain occasion like the Pavarana or in the Katina, etc. And they also need to be trained to become a teacher, because they have to stay with the teacher, Pavatini, for only at least 2 years. And after 2 years, they may get independency. Like we just hear from Venerable Falanyani, that when right after the ordination, they need to stay with the Pavatini, with the teacher, for at least 2 years to be trained and to serve the teacher and to live in the community. Because if you don't live in the community, it's very difficult for you to get along well with others when you travel here and there. So living in the community, we have to cooperate with others in working and then in administration, etc. So it is a must for all the Bhikkhunis to stay with the teacher and in the community. And they need to learn the Vinaya not only in theory, but also in practice. When I teach my students, I tell them, not only learn for yourself, but you need to learn very carefully and in detail, so that in future you can become a teacher and you can teach others. Not at the time then you have to go back to the teacher and ask what to teach. No, right from the beginning, we need to train ourselves as a teacher. And when we learn, we also learn, not only learn, but learn to teach. Teach the lay people and teach the samaneris and teach the younger Bhikkhunis. So it is a very long, everlasting training. Not 1 or 2 years is not enough, but 2 years is a must. Otherwise, they just want to go here and there without any training. So if anyone would like to be patiently and respectfully stay with the teacher and with the Sangha, they will get a lot of benefit for themselves and for others. Yeah, that is my answer.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Yes, it's like yes, it's so important to live with the teacher and to learn directly. And a question from Lani: is it allowed for a bhikkhu and bhikkhuni to travel together without a layman company? So this is a Vinaya question. And I'd just like to invite one of the presenting bhikkhunis to respond to this.
Which question?
So the question is it allowed for a bhikkhu and a bhikkhuni to travel together without any layman company? It's a Vinaya. It's quite a clear answer, actually. I could answer if no one else is, but it would be nice to hear another voice. So if any of the Bhikkhuni Sangha who the presenters would like to speak.
So usually in the Bhikkhuni Vinaya, usually we have the training rule that a Bhikkhuni should not stay with a man, either layman or any man, in a separate place, in a concealed place, and with desire, with the impure mind. Then it will be against the rule. Otherwise, if they work together, if they travel together, but usually it is always in the public. It is not a confined place or a secluded place. and it is not with the bad intention. So I think that because they don't mention in the Vinaya that traveling, they don't mention traveling along with anyone. Only the Vinaya about traveling for the Bhikkhuni is that a Bhikkhuni should not travel alone in the village or across the river. So if anyone would like to add on, so I would like to invite you to also add something else.
I think actually we're coming to the time to wrap up now. So I think your answer is comprehensive enough. And I would like to invite Venerable Bodhicitta Teri to share the merits of this gathering, of this auspicious day of celebrating bhikkhunis worldwide. So Venerable Bodhicitta, if you're there, we would love to hear you chant sharing of merits.
Thank you so much. So first of all, my respect. May I pay respect to the bhikkhus and to the bhikkhunis. So today we all have gathered here to celebrate the Bhikkhuni Day. And I think we heard what's happening all around the world. And I think anyone who likes to see the Buddha Sasana grow, I think received a lot of happy news that how, even though slowly but steadily, the Bhikkhuni Sangha is growing all around the world, despite the obstacles, the problems, the lack of support, lack of acknowledgement, but how they are striving and growing. So I think that gives us a lot of happiness to see these courageous women going forth, and especially going into the lands where they have no bhikkhunis before, but they pioneered it and paved the way for the others. So we are very lucky that starting from Arhat Mahaprajapati Theri, Gautami Mahateri, and then having the blessings of the Arhat Sanghamitta Mahateri, and then coming to our era, Venerable Bhikkhuni Kusima going forth and paving the way, and then we have all this living, pioneering Sangha who got ordained and went to their respected countries and starting the nunneries and the monasteries, like Venerable Lupa, Venerable Dhammananda Devi, Venerable Santini, Arya Tataloka, and so on. So the young bhikkhunis are very lucky to have this guidance and pave the way for them. So now it's up to us to take their leadership and then walk and find the liberation from suffering. Now a lot of the hard work has been done. So as we heard the news, that's what I gathered, and I was very happy to hear how the bhikkhunis are progressing around the world. And I'm sure all of you also are very happy. So now we have generated that positive energies. We can actually share these merits with the devas, with the divine beings, and also with our departed relatives, friends. Also, all the senior bhikkhus, bhikkhunis who are no longer with us, all the supporters that supported Buddha Sasana who are no longer with us. And if anyone is in need of merits, let's share these merits with all of the Sangha members, the devotees, the supporters, the volunteers who may be able to partake in these merits and may be able to rejoice. So may they partake and rejoice, and also we can share these merits with all beings. So let's chant Ettavata Chammehi Gatava. Let's recite that stanza and share merits with the devas, the divine beings, and all the departed, and also with all beings. Ettavata Chammehi Sabadam Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabbe Bhuta Anumodantu Sabbe Satta Anumodantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya. Also, let's make that aspiration, all the merits that we have generated today, May these merits bring causes and conditions for all of us to find the good Kalyana Mitta association till we attain Nibbana, and not to be in the company with the foolish and the wicked. Keeping that good aspiration in the mind, let's chant. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Also, let's aspire to find liberation from suffering as soon as possible. Idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabbadukkha pamujjatu. Also, I would like to share the merits with all the bhikkhus who have given the full support so we can have bhikkhunis. So starting from Mapalagama Vipulasara Thero up to now, all the Bhantes who have helped in many ways, let's think of them and pay gratitude. Let's pay respect to them and say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And also let's have gratitude and pay respect to all the bhikkhunis who have had that strength and the courage to walk, pioneer this when there is so much obstacles and threats and so many things, but they managed to pave the way for us. So let's pay respect to them also with so much gratitude to all our senior bhikkhunis as well. So with this, I also would like to give a special thanks to Bhante Sivali, because Mahabodhi Society of India has played a vital role in establishing the revival of this Bhikkhuni order in this century. So Bhante Sivali is the head at the moment, and also a very big supporter of Bhikkhunis, and also the founder of this UTBSI. So we all like to pay respect to Bhante Sivali for all the service that you have done and the support that you have given to Bhikkhuni. So without Bhantes like you, Bhante, this success is not going to be like this. So thank you so much for all your guidance and support. And also would like to show the gratitude and share the merits with all the senior Bhikkhunis who are alive now and doing their best to serve others and to be an inspiration. So with all our Mahatheris here today, Venerable Lupap, Venerable Dhammananda Mahateri, Venerable Santini Mahateri, and everyone who is here, we pay respect to all the Mahatheris for all the contributions that you have done to the Bhikkhuni Sasana so that it is flourishing now. Thanks to all of your strength and courage and effort and everything. So we pay respect to all of you also. So I would like to share the merits with everyone who organized this seminar and putting all the effort. So much merits. And also would like to share merits with Brother Roy for coming forth and helping to make the video and sharing his research findings. And also for all the people who are behind this, the lay people, and supporting with the tech support for the Bhikkhunis. So we also thank all of the lay people for helping us in this. So we would like to share merits with all beings. Whatever the merits that we have generated today, may all beings benefit from that and may it help to find freedom from suffering, and may they all be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. So wish you all a good night, and so much merits for participating in this. And with our gratitude and respect, we wish you all the best. Thank you so much. May you all be well and happy.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Venerable. And finally, we'd like to invite a blessing from Venerable Sivali to bring the occasion to an end.
Because Bhante Sivali is not here, so on his behalf and on behalf of all the Bhikkhunis, I would like to read the blessing Gatha to all who are present in this event. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba bhutanupavena sada soti pavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanupavena sada soti pavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sangha nupavena sada soti pavantu te. Tất cả phước bao hằng có đến người, cầu mong chư thiên hộ trì đến người. Do nhờ oai đức của chư Phật, do nhờ oai đức của giáo pháp, do nhờ oai đức của chư tăng, các sự an lạc thường thường đến người. Sa thụ, sa thụ, sa thụ.
Thank you, everyone. And please take a moment just to make sure you have gallery view to see everyone who's here and appreciating the gathering.
Thank you so much, Venerable Ananda Bodhi, for being the very excellent moderator today. So it is very hard for you to sit on the time and to be very diligent, very vigilant to listen to all the Dhamma talks and to conduct this program very, very smoothly. And I also thank everyone to sit until this time, nearly quite late here in Asia. And we wish that everyone will be well and happy. And we hope to meet you again in our next function in November or December this year. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So I would try to end the session now. So good night, everyone.